guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Today, by popular request, thank you guys for the comments. A couple videos ago, I asked if there were any other rare or epic champions that were new to the game that you wanted to see me do a guide on it, and several of you have either already invested in or are thinking about investing in the new dwarf rare champion, Avir the Alchemage. So let's go ahead and check him out in today's video. We'll talk about, as always here in these champion guides, who is he good, first of all? Is he worth 6-starring, A? And B, what type of player, what type of account would benefit from a champion like this? So he is a support champion, and he caught my eye right away out of all the rares. Him and Draconis were the first two that I mentioned, I think, when I was kind of spotlighting these 22 new champions added to the game. And if I can find the dude, here he is. Here he is, Avir the Alchemage. So first of all, aesthetically, pretty cool look about him. He is, as I said, a support champion. I have him built out in lifesteal gear and an accuracy set. We'll talk more about that. But first, let's cover his kit. So, A1 in this champion attacks one enemy, a one-hitter. Has a 30% chance, 45 win booked, a rare champion, so a little bit easier to book up in Ascend and upgrade in general, right? Has a 45% chance of placing the strong version of poison for 2 turns. Solid on an A1, right? Corroding Catalyst on his A2. An AoE attack on a 3-turn cooldown, attacks all enemies, has a 100% chance when booked again of placing the weak version of decreased attack for 2 turns, also places the weak version of decreased speed for 1 turn on targets under poison debuffs, which actually ends up happening against bosses, right? Because they're longer battles against waves, and Corroding Catalyst is good for the AoE, but not much else, right? So this guy does not do a ton of damage. We'll talk about that in just a second when we look at his base stats. But his A3, right, Vitalizing Potions, fills the turn meter of all allies by 15% and then heals all allies by 15% of this champion's max HP on a 4-turn cooldown when booked. So this is a great ability. He puts out a decent amount of heals, providing that you build him with enough HP, right? And because you're going to be building him with HP to begin with, a shield set is a great option for this champion. You build him out with a lot of HP, he's providing a shield, and he's providing, obviously, the heal based on his max HP. So I think that he's a great candidate for a shield set to be kind of the ultimate support rare champion on your teams, helping you with progression pretty much anywhere in the game. Faction Wars, he can help you in Clan Boss with the turn meter and the heal, and he has the poison on the A1, so maybe a part of a counterattack team. He's a champion that you want to put War Master on. We move over to his Masteries here. He's a champion you want to put War Master on and just kind of go bare minimum on the offense tree, right? He'll be doing not the majority, but very close to the majority of his damage off of that War Master proccing. So, on a Dragon 20 run with the team I'm about to show you, he ranges, anywhere in the neighborhood of 600 to 800,000 damage, and, probably 40% of that is going to be his War Master, the rest mainly his AoE, right? Obviously, he only has 2 damage dealing abilities, the AoE and the A1. On the support side, I went with, kind of an obvious choices as well, just getting the accuracy. I didn't take Lore of Steel because I only have the accuracy set in terms of basic artifact sets on him. So just take that into consideration. As I always mention here, don't just blindly copy my masteries. Go with what works for the way that you build your champions. I also ended out here with Master Hexer and with Sniper abilities. So that is how I built this champion out. Also went with Evil Eye on Avir, our buddy here. So in terms of artifacts, again, you have some choices on this champion. The number one thing I'm looking for on this champion is, can I get away when you're building him, right? Can you get away with putting an HP banner on him instead of an accuracy banner? So we're shooting for around 230 accuracy for level 20 dungeons for end game content. So if you're able to get, in the 210, 230 ideally range in accuracy, definitely go with an HP banner on this champion, okay? Other than that, I went with the crit damage just to see how much damage he could put out. Plus, I love the 37 accuracy on my amulet. You can go with HP as well, especially if you have a shield set on this champion. Go with more HP on all of the accessories, and then you're looking at a better shield and more heals from this champion. However, I knew I was going to build him out with a 100% crit rate because he does have that AoE attack. I do want to get some damage from that. It hits for around, the way that I have him built out right now, which we'll take a look at his total stats in a minute, he hits for around I would say 18 to 30k range on his AoE, okay? I don't have a lot of crit damage on this champion, but I do have 100% crit rate on him. I went HP on the ring. Crit rate on the, I went lifesteal because it just makes sense for sustainability. Put this champion in lifesteal gear. Accuracy, speed sets also do well. We already talked about shield sets on this champion. I put him in an HP chest. I would definitely go HP and not attack on this champion. My preference, but it probably should be yours too because you want that extra heal. And look at his base attack, guys. 881 on his base attack. That's very, very low. Very hard to scale his attack, and the multipliers aren't even that great, even if you did. So definitely advising you guys, even though his damage is based on attack, to go with HP on the chest. And I went speed on the boots as well. So that's pretty much the gear that I have on him. I'm looking for speed. I'm looking for a little bit extra crit rate. I'm looking for accuracy in terms of substats on this champion. That's basically all I'm looking for. HP, obviously, as well. HP percentage in terms of substats. So I was able to get more accuracy on the helmet here, more accuracy on the shield, and more accuracy on and HP on the weapon here. And you can see I was able to build him out to 277 accuracy, probably a little bit overkill. We're not going to be using him in the arena, so I mean, you know, no need for 277 accuracy, but it's going to get the job done. He's always going to be landing those debuffs, the poison and the decrease attack, which is great. So let's go ahead and take this champion for a spin, guys, and you'll see what he can do. So let's start out in, let's start out in Ice Golem's Peak. And let's just start in Ice Golem 20. So Ice Golem and certainly Ice Golem, Clan Boss, and Dragon's Lair make a lot of sense for this champion. Not saying that's the only areas that he's good in, but that's definitely two of the big ones. So look at this team I have together. Kind of fun. I did a guide 2 days ago on Tuhok the Wanderer. I'll link that in the description below, but you guys are going to be impressed by this dude. He's definitely going to be the main damage dealer on this team, even over Scylla Drake's Dark Elaine Stag Knight. So here we go. So we have the double heals. What I'm looking for here is how much healage does he put out compared to Scylla the Drake's, who heals as well on her vis-a-vis her passive, excuse me. And then Dark Elaine is definitely, actually, it's going to be kind of a damage race between Tuhok and Dark Elaine on this team as well. But, you know, that turn meter boost also on his A3 is going to be incredibly helpful. It's going to, you know, obviously quicken up all of your allies, all of the champions on your team, and you get that heal on top of it. So definitely a great ability with his A2 as well, with the poisons on the A1. So all of his abilities have, I'm going to be real with you, right? He's a rare champion, first off, right? He's a non-void rare champion. It's tough to compare him to Draconis, but if I was going to choose between Draconis and Avir, I think I would go with Draconis just because of that shield and his A3, which strips debuffs. I really love that. But this champion is definitely my second favorite out of all the new rares, and I took a look at all of them a few times. So I like him. He's good for progression. He's certainly good for the mid game. He is end game viable. Not to say that he's, you know, a beast, S-tier champion in the end game. He's no Coldheart. He's no Apothecary. However, he's a really solid support champion for your teams, especially if you add him into that shield set. Get that extra utility out of this champion, okay? Again, I have him in lifesteal gear. I probably don't need it on this champion. I'm just going to give an example because I never go lifesteal anymore on these champion guides. But I can kind of be a little bit nitpicky about his A2 and his A3. His A2, man, he is a rare, but it'd be really nice to have the strong version of either the decreased attack or the decreased speed. Now, having a strong version of decreased attack on an AoE is not something that we see from rare champions to begin with, so I'm being a little bit greedy, and it is a 3-turn AoE cooldown. However, it leaves me wanting a little bit more, right? Or maybe, I don't know. I don't want to judge unfairly, right? But what about you guys? What do you think of his A2? I think it's solid. It's a rare at the end of the day. On the A3, though, man, I would love this champion so much more. I still like the guy, but if that was a 3-turn, or if it was a 30% turn meter boost, either or, right? But it has neither of the two. It's a 4-turn, and it's not 30% on the turn meter. It's 15% on the turn meter. So, you know, don't get me wrong. Not the best rare champion in the game, but definitely worth 6-starring, especially if you don't have all these god tier champions on your account. If you're a free-to-play player or just a player who doesn't spend a ton of money on this game, I think this is a champion who can support your team. I already told you I like Draconis a little bit better, so if you're trying to choose just between the two, I would go with Draconis personally. But then again, he is Void, but then again, both these champions are accessible during events right now. And you can see how this team, you know, it's going to be a 3-minute team, but it's a really solid team. I don't think anybody's died, right as I say that. Tuak almost goes down, but a lot of healage on this team, and both the heals are kind of passive, right? And Avir does put out more heal there. He does have lifesteal gear on, keep that in mind. But look at, guys, like I told you though, Tuak the Wanderer, that dude, man, he puts out 1.4 million damage, carries the team damage-wise, but hey, Avir puts out the same amount of damage as Stag Knight, which is not bad at all. Both characters do have War Master, I'm almost certain of it, and Dark Elaine coming in second place there, which she's really good for Ice Golem's Peak. So that is the team. I'm going to show you a quick run in Dragon's Lair as well. In terms of his defense, his character's base defense, it is high for a rare. I think it's a little bit over 1,000, but I would not say that defense is going to be high enough to really depend on him in Nightmare or Ultra Nightmare, especially Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss. So, you know, I think that by the time that you're hitting Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, you probably have better options anyway as a poisoner with a poison on the A1. But I think that with a poison on the A1, with a Skull Crusher, with a Valkyrie, you're going to be loading up a bunch of poisons onto the clan boss. So I think that's what you're kind of strategizing around. So for Brutal especially, and probably for Nightmare, you can get by with him in a counterattack champion, and you'll be laying a ton of poisons, helping out with turn meter and helping out with heal. And his defense is fine in terms of scaling it for those difficulties on clan boss. So I have Kale here, I have Doom Priest, I have War Maiden, I have Avir, and I have Royal Guard on this Dragons team. Again, a solid team. It's not an I tried to make it a little bit more free-to-play friendly, and I don't want to use like different champions instead of always using the same ones here on these video guides. So I put Doom Priest in there for some help as well with support, and getting rid of a debuff every turn is really awesome on her passive. I'll also include a Doom Priest guide for you guys in the description below. And while I'm at it, might as well include what? A War Maiden? I'll put a War Maiden down there as well for you guys. So the second wave here, you guys gotta get the point by now. Let's see how much damage he does on his AoE. I think it might be next, maybe after this one. You can see landing that poison, no issues at all there. I really wanted to see how much damage he did on a wave here, but it looks like we're not going to get an opportunity to do so. Are we? Here it is. So 21 to 25k damage. Again, not that bad, not that great. He is far from a nuker. He is a support champion, aside from his A1. We just saw on the Ice Golem, well, I'll be curious to see where he lands here. You can see just on that A1, War Master proc 41k. I think that this is a champion who will put out a surprising amount of damage for a rare support, providing you do have War Master Mastery on him. Farm that up in the Minotaur's Labyrinth, but you know, I think that he's a pretty solid option overall. So let's go ahead and see. This is probably, what, a 2-minute team? Royal Guard helps, certainly. But Doom Priest, really solid there. It's just stripping away the debuffs every single turn. No big deal. Helping with some healage. We got some nice sustainability on this team. Just having, like, 2 characters on your squad. Avir and a Vrask. Avir and a Doom Priest, Avir and a Scylla the Drakes, who have those little tiny heals built into their kits. I think that's really tremendous in terms of overall support on your team. So again, 215k on the heals. He put out 400k damage, way less than Kale, a little bit less than War Maiden. So guys, I mean, that's going to end it for this video. I don't feel like I need to show you him in every single dungeon. I wouldn't consider him an arena champion personally, not a champion that I'm really looking for the arena. There's way better specialists, even in the rare category for the arena. So clan boss, dungeon help, progression help, I think he'll be just fine for you guys. He's definitely not like a campaign farmer or anything like that either. So guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I really appreciate you guys. And oh, by the way, the 2 of you who are still watching this video right now, tomorrow is going to be a really fun video, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe, turn on the bell, all that junk, because I asked Plarium like a week ago, and to their credit, they came through. I asked the game team at Plarium, who is the most, if you can only choose one, who is the most underrated champion in the game? And I asked every member of the game team, the developers of Raid Shadow Legends. So I have their answers. I'm going to record that video maybe later tonight, maybe tomorrow, and I should be uploading that tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Some really interesting choices there. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.